We are live.
All right.
Okay. So this is a continuation of the self-assessment. Am I toxic? And during my, again, I journal like every day, so sometimes several times a day. And from am I toxic, I segue into am I a gaslighter?
Mm-hmm.
Which I believe, I don't know, and you can help me out with this. If it's a, I don't know, do we call it a learned behavior or a taught behavior? Because it's
So
something that our parents do.
I had did a little bit of research myself, and what I learned was that it was like it's a form of psychological abuse, actually. So a person, and it comes in so many forms, Benj. I was surprised to see how many examples they gave. And so a person that is actually gaslighting may not even be aware of that's what they are doing. They are so used to it, the master of manipulations, that it's just it has become habit.
That goes back to me saying that I feel like it's is the word like a taught behavior or it's an environmental behavior? Because what I was thinking about earlier, and I was discussing it with my son, it's like you say, I'm sick or I don't feel well. I don't feel well, mom. I can't go to school. And you're like, oh, you can go to school, get up. Or I'm
Mhm.
full. And you tell your children, I always say your parents groom you for abuse, period. Not unwittingly. I don't think I can honestly say I don't think it's always on purpose. But so your kids say, I'm sick. Oh, you'll be okay, you can go to school. Or
Mhm.
I'm full, mom. I had enough to eat. And you're steady putting more food on their plate. And I
Mhm.
don't know about you, but I hated vegetables when I was a kid. I used to put my broccoli in my pocket.
What?
Yes.
Well, no, me coming up, my grandmother had a way of making everything taste good. The only thing I can remember that it was a no go for me, but she used to always trick me that I will always take a bite of because it looked like steak and that was liver. So I will always get tricked into eating it because I always thought it was steak until I taste the textures in my mouth. And then I'm like, oh no. But most of the things, the majority, I can't really think of nothing my grandmother cooked that we didn't eat. And she cooked a variety of things.
Now, grandma was definitely gaslighting you, was saying that like tricking you with that liver, boy. She
That
was
liver, it looked
certainly,
like steak. She used to marinate it in the
certainly.
gravy and the onions and everything. She used to fry it. She used to do all the makings of a good, nice steak with gravy. And you bite into that sucker and you just feel, mushy. I used to hate it.
Yeah, yeah, but but when I think gaslighting, I do think that. Hold on, I'm trying to turn this other thing on down. I think that I think sometimes we can do it unwittingly, but then there's times that we do it intentionally. So
Mhm.
that was like my whole premise for it. You know.
Correct. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, like I was saying, they gave examples. I read examples of some techniques that people might use. And if I can read a couple to you, I found that people use countering as a form of gaslighting, meaning like you might question someone.
You and I.
Um, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You no. You talk. You went out. Hello, everyone joining us. How are you from Phenomenal and the Smart Show with Pastor Nate? You went out though with whatever you were saying, BB.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you good. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I
So they were telling some techniques that gaslighters might use. And one was countering, meaning, let's just say, if you were trying to recount something that was going on, a gaslighter would be like, are you sure you're remembering that? You kind of have a bad memory, and things questioning your memory. That's a form of gaslighting. Another one that I found that was interesting is denying. You may have an account of something, like, I notice a lot of people in their past, like, may have a childhood trauma that they remember, and they may have parents or loved ones that would try to counter it, like, oh, I don't think that's accurate, that didn't happen. That's a form of gaslighting. um my favorite one was diverting. I see a lot of that. Like, you can be speaking about a certain topic or a discussion, and a person might steer the conversation somewhere else to divert from speaking on that issue or dealing with that. So that's a form of gaslighting, which I really, I know what gaslighting is, but I just, it was interesting to get more on what gaslighting is.
I'm going to say that I think the worst one is when you tell your caregiver, your parent or whatever, that you're being sexually abused. And they immediately, without even investigating, and I don't know how I ended up here because I didn't want to do this, but they immediately disregard what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure that's probably like the most egregious type of gaslighting. That one
Right.
right there. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I took notes on I'm trying to think what's the other word we call gaslighting. I guess it's manipulation, right?
Pretty
Manipulation or
much.
just outright lying.
That's pretty
Yeah.
much what it boils down to. It. I just want to speak to everyone. Phenomenal Mommy, hi, and Tracy's World, hello. I spoke to the Smart Show, but just wanted to speak.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So some of the tactics, well, I think we touched a little bit on the tactics of gaslighting. Again,
Mm-hmm.
is the you said the deflection and the diversion,
Mm-hmm.
um, the outright lying.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we actually can gaslight ourselves when we go to justifying certain behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, behaviors that may actually really be harmful to ourselves, but at the same time, I think it may even be a form of what we call Stockholm syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
when we justify our person that's abusing us or mistreating us, will justify their behavior. And another one of the main ways that we do that is when we say they had a bad childhood, or their now that I've gotten older and got a little bit of experience, sometimes those stories aren't even actually accurate. They're lies. They're straight
Mm-hmm.
lies.
Yeah, yeah, and we have a way of, like you say, we can excuse our abuser, and not even realize that we're doing it, or make it seem like it's our fault that this is happening. In some form, shape, form, or fashion, it was something that we did to make this happen. You know, and
Hmm.
it's weird, but it happens often.
Yep, and it's sad that it happened often, and that's where we can get back into re-victimization or re-victimizing ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Or that's how how I say that I feel like our parents groom us for abuse. And again, I'm gonna say I don't think that it's always intentional. I just feel like no parent like willingly wants to hurt their children, right?
Yeah.
But and it even start off if you have siblings. I say, baby pinch me, baby was it is like, no, they didn't, or baby say sorry, and baby is not sorry. In fact, baby is gonna turn around and pinch me again because
Right.
baby didn't
Right.
get in trouble for pinching me.
Correct. Correct.
Or another one I say is that when they say family is all you have, and like family is really like really effing you up. But family is all you have. Family is all you have. Family is all you have. And you grow up confused, and then you now you're in your work environment, and you're being gaslighted at work as well. So you have a boss that gaslights you. You say these figures are not coming out correctly, these numbers are all wrong, and they're saying just turn it in anyway, they're correct, instead of trying to um I guess like confirm or verify if your numbers are accurate or not.
Right,
And
right,
then you may even get in trouble for it. And then your boss, and you'll say, "Why, I asked you to check on that for me." And your boss will say, "You didn't mention anything to me."
right. And it's ultimately your job. They'll switch it around on you. You know.
Yes. Yep. Yep. So that goes back to even like self accountability. So I guess if you can't get a boss to do it, you can get somebody else to do it. One of the things that I was sure to look on is about prevention from gaslighting. Um, and I feel like the biggest thing for prevention from gaslighting, any type of abuse, period,
Mhm.
is knowing yourself. It's so important that you know who you are.
Right.
Definitely knowing who you are on the inside. In fact, I'm even going to say this. I think that abusive people, I think they're afraid of people that are confident and secure. They're not going to try them unless it's in their personality to try everybody. And again, with abusive people, it's like anybody can get it. But if
Mhm.
they first meet you and they don't know, like for example, myself, I say, I don't care who it is, BP. It's
Mhm.
so funny. I'm always underestimated. For example, like even at work, or sometimes they'll say, such and such was talking about you, and they were saying she's so cool, blah blah blah. And I had to tell them, oh, don't let the smiles, the laughs, and in
Right.
fact, the sleepy fire fool you, because she will definitely, she will write your ass up in a minute. So don't,
Right.
don't try to play her. Don't try to. Don't, she don't write you, but she will definitely write you up. You know.
Yeah, and that's okay. You should never let nobody know your end game. Nobody
Right.
should never think they know everything about you. That's
Hmm.
the problem right there. If a person think they know everything about you, then they will try to control you or do things like try to play games with you because they think they can manipulate you. So you definitely don't want anybody to know your next move, period. I've always been the type um how I work is what people expect of me, I always do the opposite because I don't want nobody to think they know me. So a person may look at me and by speaking to me may think I'm intimidating. They may think I'm loud. They think, but then when they talk to me, they're like, you're nothing like that. Because I do that on purpose because I want you to assume, and I'm trying to prove to you, don't judge a book by its cover. I can have the makings of so many things, but until you actually get to know my character, it's not fair for you to judge me.
Yeah. 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 That cracks me up. So I know I always say, people say, go on for something. Wow, I didn't know you were like that. Blah, blah, blah. And I say, I'm always underestimated. Like
Right.
always, like you never know. And so I like what you said. Never person know what you're in. You know how they say, you don't have to get ready. And one of the
Yeah.
things that I think helps or keeps you prevention proof from adults, in addition to knowing yourself, is that knowing different behaviors of other people,
Right. And being
knowing different
willing to
personalities.
Right. And being willing to be open without being victimized, without being attacked. Like it's okay for you to express yourself. It's the manner in which you do it that gets the best results. Like if you come at someone in the wrong way, the results you're gonna get, you may not like it. And it goes on and on and on and back and forth. But if you come, you can basically you could communicate anything with a person depending on how you go about it. And to prevent from being gaslit, you have to say what you mean and mean what you say.
You say,
And,
yeah.
and don't be afraid to speak your truth, and not in a way where it's offensive. I always say that because the reason why I'm so bent shaped on being offensive is because I once offended a lot of people the way I spoke, my tone, and the things that I said to people. It always came off as, I think I know it all, or I'm nasty, or I'm trying to be smart. And I never liked people to think that way about me because that was never my intentions. But then I had to look at how my deliverance, I had to really take a look in the mirror and say, all right, how are you coming at people? Is it in a way where people will be offended? But all right, can you do it in another way
You
and still get your point across? Benj? I don't hear Benj. I'm not sure what's going on. I think something, because her mic was going in and out, so I'm not sure. Benj, you might have to drop off and come back in. Not sure though. But while she's figuring it out, I just wanted to go over a couple of more things about techniques that a person may use when they're gaslighting you. Oh, okay. It's okay, Benj. I'm gonna hold it down for you till you come back. So I spoke on denial and diverting. Stereotyping is also a form of gaslighting because people can use a person's gender, their sexuality, their age to manipulate them. You know, we could tell, like, depending on, like, some men already have a disdain for how women are supposed to be and how they are. You women talk too much. So you're already trying to gaslight us to make us think that all women are this. Or it could be vice versa. Oh, men ain't doodle squat. They ain't nothing. And that's gaslighting too, making a man think that all men just ain't worth nothing. So those are stereotypical gaslighting techniques that people use. What else did I see? Trivializing occurs when a person belittles or disregards another person's feelings. They may accuse them of being too sensitive or overreacting. There are different forms of it, but it happens. Benj?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, good.
I have a very strong, nice Wi-Fi. I don't know why it's cutting up on me tonight. But yes, I totally agree with you. You want to know who my biggest gaslighter is? Really, it's my mom. But I've learned to, I love her and I want to stay in contact and communicate with my mother. So I've learned to kind of just not paying attention to what she's saying, not be offended, not take it personal to what she's saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, with our moms, Benj, what I learned is that our moms, they're older and they didn't have all the resources we have to get things right. They only did things by what they thought they knew on how they were raised. If a lot of our parents were raised very dysfunctional, and they took what they learned and tried to do better, but sometimes it didn't go as planned. But again, back in those days, it was like, just do as I say, and you don't speak about it. You don't have no opinion. I'm everything. Whatever I say, go. So it's a little different. Like my mom, I had to really dig deep into who she was as a woman because I blamed her for a lot of things growing up, because my mom actually she had a nervous breakdown when I was 14, and she was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenic.
Oh, wow.
And so my life changed from the time of 14 on. Like, it was never the same as I knew it. So I grew up faulting her for a lot. And it's only because I didn't know what the disease was about. You know, I had to really do some homework, and I really had to go back into her past and realize how she was raised. And when I realized all of that, it made me more, I guess, understanding, considerate, nevertheless still hurt because, I still, a lot of things still happen that I think shouldn't have happened, but I still was aware that she didn't have the tools herself to be a more, I guess, effective parent, if you would. So it goes on and on. And so when we grow up as adults, we have a habit of just blaming our parents for a lot of things. And I'm only saying that like really fairly because anybody that was born, I guess 60 and down did not have the same, even 70, even 80. They didn't have the same tools and knowledge that the millennial parents have today.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I do agree. I do agree. I know a few children that, but the millennials are so different. I always say that they're advanced. So I know a few people that uh disclose to their children, which would be millennials, that they were diagnosed with mental illness. And I don't want to stay on this too long.
Right.
But so millennials, they have a totally different perspective even of mental illness, and I like it. I'm gonna say I like
Mhm.
it. And even since I got into metaphysical healing, esoteric healing, and all those things, my perspective have also changed about mental illness and personality disorders as well. Well, I'll say
Mhm.
mental illness more than personality disorders.
Yeah.
Um,
Once you learn about that, seriously do your homework on mental health, you learn so much, and
yeah,
it gives you a bigger perspective. And not to take it off subject because we are talking about gaslighting, so I don't
right.
want to take it off the subject. But what I come to realize, one of the biggest gaslighter and effective gaslighters I've ever experienced in public is Donald Trump.
Oh, of
He
course, the
is the
government always
example.
gaslights us. Oh, most
He's
definitely.
the
Yes.
he's the prime example of everything that a gaslighter represents.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm glad you put us back on focus because I wrote a few notes on
Mhm.
some of the gaslighting signatures of a gaslighter,
Uh-huh.
and is one of them is manipulation,
Mhm.
and then invalidating the emotional state of someone, judging the emotional state of someone, such as, I say, BB, you really hurt me. And you might say to me, you're just too sensitive,
Right.
you know.
Or,
But
well, if I
you
did, I'm
know,
sorry.
no, no, you're not gonna say, well, if I did, I'm sorry. You're gonna say, I'm sorry if you feel that way. So because that's
Right.
still not
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you
apologizing.
feel that way,
Yep,
I'm
it's a vague
sorry.
apology.
And that's
And so
questioning me. That's questioning you. That's a form of
yes,
gaslighting
yes,
because
yeah.
now I'm questioning you on your feelings yet again,
Uh-huh.
but offering
Yeah.
this real sour apology while I'm doing it.
Yep. So I also put the vague apologies that a gaslighter would do. So what I wrote down is not acknowledging the offense that they may have done to their target, victim,
Mhm.
whatever. But they blame the target for feeling offended, that they were offended by the, ofendee's behavior. Hey,
Right.
Melissa King,
Hey,
thanks for coming in.
Melissa. Right.
And then I also wrote that how gaslighters, they project.
Mhm.
They also triangulate, they isolate. And one of the biggest things I feel that gaslighters is, I won't say biggest because I just feel like they're all equal, is
Mhm.
that they suffer from paranoia. They'll blame you for things that they're doing, you
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
don't trust
Yeah.
binge. You know, BB can say it, be saying, I don't trust binge. I don't
Hmm.
trust binge. But I personally feel that a person that's constantly saying they don't trust people, they're suspicious of everybody, they feel that the actions of others, they're threatened by the actions of others. I personally feel that within it's because that they themselves they know that I'm even going to say on a subconscious level, they know that they are untrustworthy,
Hmm.
be it small or big, no matter what the intensity is, they are untrustworthy. You
Right.
know what I mean? And
And
that
so
goes
they
back
have.
to me to
Yeah.
me saying all the time, you know, one of the things that really made me gravitate to you and is that I love your authenticity. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like you're so transparent. You
thank
know,
you so much.
you
That's the
mean a
only.
lot to me.
It's not.
You know that transparent and truth tellers, like people don't like, people really do not like they're really only going to attract, like they're for real gonna attract like-minded people, you know,
Right.
truth tellers
Absolutely.
and authentic people. For example, people like myself, because I'm the same way. I don't like her. They can't say why they don't like me, but whenever
Right.
I'm told that, again, gotta refer back to my job. If they say that someone has complained about me, I'll say this: did they say I was unprofessional?
Hmm.
Especially when it's a social worker bringing this garbage back to me. Did they say I was unprofessional? Did they say I was disrespectful? Whenever she says no, when she's messy is the, you know, I'm not gonna curse, but she's messy as F herself. And when
Uh-huh.
she said that, I said, I don't care what they said about me then. I don't
Right.
care. I don't care. And but I will say this. I don't want to hear what you gotta say, but I'm gonna tell you this. They don't like me because
Mm.
they can't control me.
Correct.
They can't even control me emotionally. So when they're coming here with this garbage and this mess, I'm gonna do my job, but I will not engage none of their conversation. Like they're not gonna get a conversation from me, and I don't, I'm not obligated to talk to them. So they're not gonna get any of that from me. I'm
Let me
gonna be
say this,
respectful and I'm gonna be professional.
Benj. I appreciate what you said, and I thank you so much. And being that way, hey Butterfly, and hey
Hey,
Andrea.
butterfly baby,
Hi.
phenomenal. You want to come up? I dropped the link for you, phenomenal.
I'll say this. It's really, once you practice anything, the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. So if that's the type of person you want to be, then it's not hard to just do it. But just know it does not come with the audience that you think you're going to get, because everybody is not where you're at.
Right, right. You know, I think what means a lot to me, it took so much work for me to get where I am. So it's like there's no turning back. You know, there's absolutely no turning back whatsoever. And I'm gonna tell you, I think my biggest thing was a therapist dropped me. It took a therapist drop me. I was like straight in therapy, and she dropped me. She wanted me to do something, and I wouldn't do it. And I mean, I understand. I even respect the fact that she dropped me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm paying this lady cash, so my insurance wasn't even paying for, but she dropped me.
Mm-hmm.
And but I feel that maybe it was a good thing she dropped me. I don't know, but I feel like that intensified my resolve, you know, and self healing. Which mostly, you know, my self healing is like from abuse, or sometimes, as I like to say, karmic relationships.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you this though. When your therapist dropped you, did you feel like the work still was more work that needed to be done?
Oh, most definitely, it's a work every single day,
Mhm.
every
Right,
day.
right, right,
Every day. In fact,
right,
I can go further and say I never want to stop doing the work. And I mean
right.
absolutely never. I
That's
never
right.
want to stop doing the work. I never want to stop doing the work. I
That's
want to
right. You
always be in learning mode. I want to always
That's
be
right. I was about to say that we should all be as trying to learn each and every day. The moment you think you know it all, that's when you have lost.
Thank
Because
you.
no
Yes.
one knows everything, and you learn something every single day. No matter how big, there's no such thing as something being too small or big, too big. You just learn as you go. And that's what life has taught me, because I got my wisdom, in my opinion, comes from my experience every day.
Yes, yes,
You know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I decide whether I get to pick, I get to choose how I want to deal with the world, how I want the
mhm,
world to deal with me. That's my choice. And I
yes,
make a
yes,
conscious effort to keep as less stress as I possibly can.
yeah, yeah, yep. And I deal with people accordingly nowadays. If I see, and I could even go back and say this, love my godmother so much. I spend a lot of time with my godmother, right? But she doesn't treat servers very well, like when we're out in restaurants and so forth. So I
Mhm.
tell her all the time, right? I'm like, Mom, we have eaten so much spit and snot and shit because of you starting trouble with these with the servers, right? So now what she will say, like if we're out, she'll be like if she's because she's gonna start. That's her personality, so she's gonna start. So now Godmom will say, like when she starts, she'll be like, "Oh, let me stop because I don't want to hear her mouth." And we get in the car. I don't want to hear her. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear her mouth. But I said that to say this. I feel that abusive people, right? That's their personality, and all we can do is pray for them. And so it's like anybody can get it. When I say
Right.
anybody can get it, anybody can get it. And pretty much abusive people, really, it's that their first generation relatives that get it the utmost, like they really get that heat, that smoke, or whatever you want to call it, because they're readily accessible and available. But so what I do, I watch how people treat others. How do you think of the lowly, the people, the homeless, and so forth, like that?
Mhm.
And that's right there is my, I'm gonna say righteous judgment. Being able to judge righteously is what
Right.
I use to be able to say, this isn't a person that I want to engage with. I don't want to have nothing to do with
Right.
this person. Hey,
Correct.
phenomenal. I'm
Hi,
phenomenal. You're
phenomenal.
muted. Unmute your mic, phenomenal.
Greetings.
Hey,
Hi.
babe.
Yeah, I keep my mic muted because I'll be over here moving around and making noise and stuff like that. But thank you for allowing me to be on your panel, Benj. I haven't seen you around, but I noticed I came to your page and I was like, oh, I haven't been getting your notifications. That's what it is. Because I just knew you disappeared. Are you guys still there? Okay, I
Yeah,
can
we're
see.
still here.
Okay, I can
No,
see.
no, but you did, because I know, like, didn't you have a death or something? My condolences. Didn't your mom pass away?
She did, and thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So my condolences. I think that's the last time I was on your page, around that time.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yeah,
And
but I
condolences
know that
to
I
you.
know that you know all about gaslighting and all this
girl, I'm going
bad
through it right
behavior.
now. I'm going through it right now. It's like it blindsided me. Like I have a friend, a dear friend, the only true friend that I thought, that I talked to. It doesn't even live in the country, but we always talk. We always keep each other mentally healthy, because you got to talk to someone. And then he got his own life, of course. I got mine. I don't own anybody. I don't treat anybody like I own them. Hey, you busy? Get back to me whenever. No problem. So he ghosted me once, but I mean, let me put everything in perspective for you guys. This person has a terminal disease, a terminal illness. So they only have so much time. So they're like, well, I got to get myself together and I want to do certain things before that time happens. And I'm like, I totally get it. You don't have to explain anything to me. Do you? Just know that I'm here for you. So, and mind you, the person being in another country, I kind of had to change my sleep hours to be available for that person. So that was hard on me, but that's what I was doing. But anywho, we had some great times. And then Ghosted me the first time, came back, everything was cool. Uh, and then the second time, he goes to me. I didn't say anything. I sit in my own little corner of the world. I don't mess with nobody, so don't nobody mess with me. I keep to myself. I keep quiet, you know. I do my YouTube channel. I make my music, and that's my life. And I'm happy with that. Less is more. So he contacted me, but the conversation was so short. You know, there was nothing like it was like he was talking to me like I was a stranger. And the conversation was so short, you know, it was like, okay, well, take care. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, you know. And then the next morning, I woke up to an email of him just bashing me. Like he was calling, he said, I never thought I would experience narcissistic abuse from you and your manipulation and need for attention. And I'm like, where is all this coming from? I'm not, he was talking to me like I was blowing up his phone and then was getting mad at him if he didn't respond to me. That's the way he was talking to me. And none of that ever happened. So I'm like, I just talked to you yesterday. What happened between last night and this morning? I don't get it. Tell me what I did or what I didn't do so that I can take responsibility for it, you know? And then the next email was, I'm not taking responsibility for anything directed towards me. I'm not taking I'm shift blaming. What the fuck? Excuse me. But my mind was so miscombobulated. And then I'm thinking, okay, this is the attack of the enemy, because the crazy thing is, before the nasty email, he's like, what you been doing? What you been up to? And I said, I haven't been doing, you know, I make a couple beats, but basically I've been focused on God, and that is it. I need myself together, trying to get clean my house. I want to be acceptable to Creator. That's my only focus right now, you know. And then the next morning I got the nasty email. So I'm thinking, okay, this is the enemy again, because this is the same enemy that I've been dealing with throughout my life, just jumping from one person to the next, to the next, to the next, you know, and they all act the same. That's the crazy part. That's how I know it's the enemy. They all come at me the same way, out the blue, blindside me with some BS that I have no clue about. Like, how can I be guilty of something when I'm sitting here looking at four walls and I'm not talking to anybody? But okay, you want to keep accusing me, no problem. I'm still waiting for this person to tell me what I did or didn't do, but I don't even think that's going to happen, because it's all in their mind. Because I've done nothing but sit here and pray. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. And until this person even explains to you what the problem is, how are you ever gonna be able to know what the real deal is?
Exactly, or take accountability for it, you
Right.
know. And I was like, you know, I've done nothing but love you. Is this how you treat people that genuinely love you? You know, whatever. I will always cherish the times that I will cherish what I think we had, you know, and I love you forever. But take care of yourself. I pray for your soul.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think this person is going to come back and say, well, you did this, because it will all be lies, because I haven't done anything. That's
Right.
why you can't give me any receipts, because I haven't done anything. So I've been sitting here mute, quiet, focusing my energy, you know, just
Mm-hmm.
focusing on God. That's it. But that's
And
when the
guess what?
enemy,
Phenomenal. God is awesome, and He removes people from your life.
yes,
It's
and
not happening
reveals
for a reason.
reveals your enemies.
Yep,
Yes.
that's right. That's right. So sometimes you always have to look at the other side. You can't always be biased to a situation, even when it involves you. You always have to counter it with the other person's involvement and what they may be feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? I mean,
Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, who's the other lady on the panel?
BB Nice.
BB Nice, you were talking about your delivery and how you talk to people and things like that. You know, your I get the same crap. I get the same crap. But you know, I'm 53 years old. I'll be 54 this year. And I have spent my entire life conforming to make everybody else happy. And I refuse to do that anymore. I was just talking to my daughter recently. She came at me. I think she's very toxic. She came at me with all this depression, crying, but at the same time, she's telling me what she's doing, which is keeping her in the rut. And it's the things, what she's doing is the same things that God freed her from, but she wants to be like Lot's wife and keep turning around, going back to it. And I'm telling her these things, and instead of the message, all she wanted to do was kill the messenger. And that's what people do. Now she want to talk about how I'm talking to her. Damn it, you're 33 years old. I've been talking to you this way all your life. Period. I have not changed at all. And now you want to say, well, it's the way you're saying it. Okay, well, then find somebody else to talk to then. Because you know all my intent is out of love. All of it.
Yeah. You know what? I get that phenomenal. I had the same experience with my oldest son, because my oldest son is 23. And he always used to, like, every time I get to yelling and talking to him, because I do have a problem with raising my voice. My fiance think I'm deaf, but because she's like,
it's just that you know you're passionate about what you're saying. You're passionate about it, and you know it's not even that you're yelling.
Right. My voice is it just carries that way. So to someone else, it may sound like I'm yelling, but I'm not. But my son used to always shut down on me when I started that. So I wouldn't be able to get anything out of him. And he noticed me doing that to my younger crew that came after him. And he literally sat down with me one day and said, Ma, why you think I don't talk to you? Because soon as you start all that yelling, I can't connect. I just automatically shut down. And I didn't notice that was an issue. And it's not even a fact that it's an issue for me. It's an issue for them. And I can't get nowhere being that way. So I had to look at self and say, okay, what can I do so I can have a better verbal relationship with my children and they won't shut down like my oldest one did, because it's hard to talk to him and I couldn't understand why, and he finally told me why. So I felt like that was something that I needed to change about myself, because it was an issue. Now, if you like everything about yourself, you love the way you handle business, you like the way you converse with people and get your point across, then no, I wouldn't suggest anyone change for anybody else. However, if you see that everybody's telling the same story about you, sometimes it's not everybody. It may just be you.
No, I don't mean like, oh, let me put it to you this way. When it comes to my daughter, she will gaslight you. That's the whole thing. The conversation will be going great, and then here comes the gaslighting. So then that will make me get stern. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you trying to turn this around on me? It has nothing to do with me. You called me about this. I gave you the answer. You don't want to accept the answer. And then you're trying to deflect and turn shit on me, and it's not. I don't even know why. I know why they do it, because the next day, oh, she was fine.
Right.
She was fine,
like you said.
She done unloaded all that crap on me and left me to deal with it.
Correct.
And now she's okay. So it's, oh Lord. And I think that's what my friend is doing too. Purposely. You know,
because whatever it is, he doesn't want to deal with it. So it's easier to just put the blame, shift it on you, divert the conversation, about you and change the conversation, make it about you. And then that's the form of gaslighting, because you'll start questioning yourself. Well, did I do something?
Yeah, I know I didn't do anything because I haven't done anything. I haven't even talked to them. So, I let people be who they are, and that's all I ask in return. And when you turn around and tell me I don't like the way you're talking or this, then you have the problem with that. You have the problem with how I'm talking. You're taking everything personally. Get out of your emotions. Hear the message.
Yeah.
That's just where I'm coming from. I spent my whole life, conforming and being a certain way so everybody will be comfortable. And plus, mind you, as you can see my picture, even coming up through school, I can speak exactly the way my classmate would speak, and she was chocolate dark, right? It was acceptable for her to speak that way, but it wasn't acceptable for me to speak that way. So I've always dealt with that.
I noticed that too about light-skinned women. They always felt like they had to go above and beyond just to prove who they were, because so many people made it an issue because of your complexion that you wasn't black enough.
Yeah, I'm not black enough to say naked is or whatever, FUB, or I'm not allowed to say those things. Really? Okay.
Right. At the same time, we're dark, so it's expected that we go off. Like, it's such a bad way of thinking that, you got to look at a person's skin complexion and determine how they're supposed to act and react to the world.
And mind you, I wasn't an outspoken person until I became a mother. Out of the protectiveness over my child, But I was always, the quiet one. I was the doormat, I took the abuse. But after I became a mother, it's like, no, she's not going to go through this BS that I went through. Right is right and wrong is wrong. You know?
And that's how you can stop a gaslighter. Just standing firm in what you mean and what you say. Like, you stop them right in their tracks, and you don't let them persuade you to think anything. You have enough sense to know what you're talking about. Now, if they have if they disagree with you, they can simply voice that, but don't tell me what I'm thinking ain't right.
And they do come with those.
I think in an intentional gaslighter, they're not gonna try a person that's that they know is confident, that they're solid in who they are. I don't even think they're gonna try them. I don't, like, if they've studied you, or they watch your movements, or if they've heard enough about you. An intentional gaslighter, they will not, like, they're not going to try somebody that they know, like, this person is too solid, so let me move to the next, you know what I mean, like, on to the next.
And I am solid. I am solid, and I do stand firm, and I stand firm in my truth and in my being. I know who I am, but at the same time, I'm also this extreme sensitive person that I don't share with the world. And I did share that with my friend. My friend does know my heart, so that was the door that he got into. Now I can say these things to push her buttons to hurt her. You see, and that's
so
what
let me ask
do.
you this: since you know that, since you feel that, or I'm even going to say, since you were offended, and in your opinion he gaslighted you, will you engage him again, or will you mention it to him that you felt that I don't even know what, I guess, well, I'll just say, like, will you say to him, I feel like you were gaslighting me?
No, I kind of, I said my piece in the email, and it wasn't, I didn't turn anything around. My whole thing is, you cannot compete with how someone else perceives you. You can never compete with how someone thinks.
That's true.
I'm not even gonna try. And I told him, I'm sorry you feel that way. If you don't want to come up with receipts and tell me, then okay. You know, I pray for your soul. Have a nice life. You know, that's basically it. There's nothing to argue about because I haven't even talked to, you know, that it's a crazy situation. And I'm
It seems
thinking,
like this.
you know,
this
it
is
could be his
something
medication.
that
It
I'm
could,
trying to reconcile with. This is something that I'm trying. I'm struggling. When I tell you I'm struggling, and I kind of think that my issue is because my biological mother died when I was 6, right? And then
okay,
my father committed suicide when I was 18. So it's like they're like
Jesus.
your parents are there and now they're gone. So I have no issue. And I even had a therapist say this to me. One day you're going to have to reconcile with this because so as a result, I think this is what I think. As a result, like it's nothing for me to cut a person off. But even if they haven't done anything to me. So in one of my therapy sessions, she says to me, she says, so you have like totally discarded people that didn't do anything to you, and I'm telling you, like, because I at that time, I understand now, but at that time, like, I was laughing. I was like, yes, like, and I'm laughing about it. And she says, you're gonna have to reconcile with that. She says, so you have people walking around probably thinking that they did something to you, and they did it. And I said, yes. So that's I even think that that's kind of how I was able to attach it to the fact how me, losing my mom, and because I was 6 when I lost my mother, I didn't even know what death meant, to be perfectly honest. Like, I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
I was even bragging that my sister was going to her funeral, so that really goes to show I didn't even know that that meant I was never going to see her again. And then
Mm-hmm.
with my father's suicide,
Mm-hmm.
at that time, like, I didn't know what death meant. But so she was like, you're gonna have to reconcile that. So as a result, it's like literally nothing for me to in fact, instead of saying, I'm offended by such and such behavior, maybe it's gaslighting, the gaslighting or whatever, instead of me saying that, I'll just cut them off. So one of the things I struggle with, do I have the discussion? Like, you did these series of things, not just one thing, because I'm not going to cut somebody off with one thing. But if there's a series of things and I feel like a person should know exactly what they did, come back, Andrea. You were up, Andrea. I clicked you on. So if there's a series of things, I feel like, especially if we're like the same age range or older, blah blah blah, or there's some certain things I feel like you should know that this is offensive. Like, why do I have to explain to you this, and this is offensive?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I'm gonna cut
yeah,
you off because I feel like
yeah.
this and here's my thought on this. If you feel that it's okay to disrespect me, mistreat me, like whatever. I don't even know what the proper term is. I don't feel that I owe you an explanation for saying, F you. Like, I don't want to have nothing else to do. There will be no more engagements with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
I
understand.
feel like I should not, and this is something I really just learned within the last two or 3 years. No lie, I'm even going to say only 2 years. I should not be in relationship with anybody where I feel that I treat you better than you treat me. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm not gonna have a relationship with anyone that tries to destroy or impede on my peace.
Mhm.
Period. My peace is the most important thing.
Peace is power.
And you come at me with drama, is I'm cutting you off because it's uncalled for. When we're two adults, three adults, whatever, how many, and we can talk about it. But
Right.
instead of talking about it, they come with accusations, accusing you of things. And wait a minute, why? What? Show me, you
You
know?
know, I understand what both you ladies are saying, but I do think that there are times where people really don't know any better. They've been doing certain things so long that it is habit and it's normal to them. And so when they come across someone that don't approve of how they treat you or didn't like it, I really think that they deserve to know. Like, I don't assume people just should know things. about me, especially in relationships. So
Exactly.
I communicate that with them. If I see if
Mm-hmm.
someone steps out of line with me for the first time, you only get one time
Mm-hmm.
to screw me over, but you do get that one time, because chances are I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt to say
Mm-hmm.
maybe you don't know any better. As old as you are, and what I think you should know, maybe you don't, because of how you were raised or how much people let you get away with certain things in your life. So I would explain it once to you. I didn't like this. We can't go on if this happened again. I appreciate if you don't do X, Y, Z. After that, if that person still decides to do it right after we just had this discussion, yeah, I have no problem letting them go.
Mm-hmm. And my first time is the disrespect. You
Mm,
disrespect me, that's it.
right.
There's no reason to try to bash somebody else. You
Hmm.
know, when you can actually just talk. I don't get it. But they see
Well,
people don't want to talk. They
the
want to
thing about
gaslight. They want
disrespect though,
arguments.
the thing about disrespect though, if it's a person's personality, so say for example, it's their personality to literally just curse people out, and I know people like that. They might not even feel that they're being disrespectful in their conversation with you, and they will say, "This is how I talk. This
Hmm.
is
Well,
how I
Right.
y'all, hey, I
And
cuss
that's
cuss
again,
like a sailor.
that's
But
another
that,
form of gaslighting.
mm,
You're
talk." All right.
supposed to accept a person because this is who they are. This is the way
Yeah.
they talk.
Welcome, Andrea. Andrea
Hey,
just joined the
Andrea.
panel, you all.
Hello, hello.
What's
but
I was
going
yeah,
on with
just
you?
waiting for
hello,
a
hello.
lull.
And
Hi.
I do that in a sense of, for instance, you know how ladies just call other ladies bitches all the time. Bitch, please, this, you know, even their closest friends, you know, oh, it's not meant, you know, it's not intended as bad. Don't call me a bitch. I'm not a bitch. And I
Mhm.
don't accept anybody calling me a bitch. If that's the way you talk, fine. But hey, I'm letting you know I don't have that. I don't have those type of conversations like that. You know, I give you respect. I will never call you that.
Yeah.
And I
See, and
just
you just
ask
made
that
a
and
good
you
point.
know,
You just made a good example, because that word bitch is used, it's like a term of endearment. And I'm gonna be honest, like with me and my friends, that's what we call each other, especially when we're getting into a conversation. We're like, bitch, did you hear this? Did you hear that? However, I've come across people who don't like that word, such as yourself. I am
mm,
not going to tell you, well, that's just the way I talk. No, I'm going to consider your feelings and not
mm,
call you a bitch.
and that's
Simple.
the same like with you. If you and I talking and that's the way you talk, I'm also the same person that's not trying to change you.
Right.
You know, if that's the way you talk, fine. You can say the word all you want. Just
Hmm.
please don't call me that because I
Right.
don't. It just don't sit right with me. That's all.
Hmm.
Okay, welcome, Andrea. What do you want to add to the
Hey, Andrea.
conversation?
Well, I was
Andrea?
listening. I kept clicking on and off because a 3-year-old was holding me hostage. She gonna tie me up pretty soon. But I was list like I too have an issue with being called a bitch. Really called being called outside of my name. To me, it's like
Mm-hmm.
play fighting. I don't do it. But
Mm-hmm.
um, when somebody meets me, they don't know that. I feel like everything is a negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want me to blow up on you, don't call me that. You know, I have a name.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, but I understand that some people it's common, but
Mm-hmm.
everything is negotiation. But when the thing is like, just using the example, when someone says, how did you use a BB nice? I can't remember. You said, bitch. How did you
Bitch,
say?
like, yeah, and we'll be talking, and I'm like, bitch, let me tell you what the fuck happened. And she's
Right.
like, bitch, what? And we're going back and forth, back and forth. It's not,
And
it's,
I can see the friendliness, I see the camaraderie in that.
mm-hmm.
But say it was someone like myself and Miss Phenomenal.
And if I said
And then you say, girl, I didn't mean it that way. Gosh, you sensitive. You're just taking it too far. Are you
gaslighting,
gaslighting?
gaslighting,
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
gaslighting at its finest, instead of saying, I do apologize. I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have said that because you don't like it, and I won't say it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it could be as simple as my bad, and you know we move on
Mm-hmm.
from it because
Exactly.
you don't know. But sometimes
Exactly.
people expect the other person to know what's in their mind. And
Mm-hmm.
coincidentally, my 26-year-old left when you guys were talking about older children and how they want you to speak to them differently.
Mm-hmm.
This kid, he went a while, not really. He kind of gray rocked me. He didn't talk to me a lot because I did pop off. I mean, I wasn't a spanker, but I sure would yell, and that's just as bad. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and when he told me, he says, "I'm an adult. I take care of myself. If you're gonna talk to me like that, we're just not gonna talk." And I thought to myself, it hurt. It really did. But then I thought, isn't this who I raised? So I would say, look at your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Was it you, Baby Nice, or Miss
It
Phenomenal
was me.
who had mentioned?
It was
Okay,
uh-huh.
look at your daughter as the fact. Yes, no, she has no. She shouldn't expect you to change like totally from who you are. But you raised a child who has enough sense of themselves, enough self-respect, enough assertiveness to say, this is a boundary, Ma. And you know she loves you, right? So if she can say that to you, perhaps when she goes into the world, you won't have to worry as much as some man talking to her crazy.
Girl,
Or
please. She is so toxic. And that was the whole thing of the conversation. She is so toxic. She hello. She
Hi.
she met a narc who almost took her life. He almost took her life. And which is the reason, Benj, why I moved out of state. You know, I was like, she wouldn't leave him alone. Um, him and I end up getting in a tussle because he wouldn't leave me alone. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, he threatened my life and all that stuff. So, you know, but she wouldn't leave him alone. He wasn't bringing nothing but hell to my household. And I said, that's it. And when she told me she was still talking, this was a month after my mom died. She told me she was still talking to him. I said, that's it. I got to go then. Obviously, I've surrendered everything I've ever owned in my life. And now I have to surrender you.
And
I
that's the
Let
know
me
this.
ask
hardest part.
though, do we raise toxic children? Because I'm going to admit, my a lot of my personality, of course, is environmental, right? And I will never forget, I was probably in my 20s, and a relative said that they didn't like. I was so I although you heard me say that my biological parents passed, I was raised by a great uncle that to me is my mom and dad, right? So I had a relative once saying to me, "Man, she talks about everybody. All she does is gossip." I was so offended, and now that I'm older, I realize she was telling the truth. And so, do you feel that? So, do you, as a mother, do you feel that any of you, like you're calling your daughter toxic, do you feel that any of her behaviors was projected from you?
um, I'm gonna tell you how she's toxic because she actually told me. Okay. And this is when I realized, okay, God needs to save your soul, period. She said, Ma, I know that these niggas that I deal with ain't poop. I know this. I know that they ain't worth crap. But the reason I deal with them is because it makes me feel superior.
wow.
Yeah. And I said the same thing. I said, wow, why can't you feel superior by yourself? Why do you have
Yeah.
to have someone that you feel is beneath you? And she said, well, I think she has abandonment issues too. Because she said, well, I feel that, as long as a person is beneath me, that they'll never leave me. And I said, well, you've lived 33 years. You know that that's an illusion. You know that that's not the truth. But she gets in these trauma bonds to where these guys put their hands on her and she accepts it. And no, she didn't learn that from me. This is why I'm divorced to this day, you know. No, she didn't learn that from me. I've always led by example.
Well, one thing that we see is people catch little fleas. Like they will be around narcissistic people
Girl,
or
they demons.
self-absorbed people. They pick up fleas from them. They start to take on the characteristics of the
Hmm.
person who's abusing her, like some abusing them. Like people will like Stockholm syndrome.
Hmm.
They'll take on the characteristics of the abuser because they're trying to survive. So yes, she may be toxic by her definition. I have a 33-year-old too. That's a daughter that knows, she knows everything and she bosses her mom, tries to boss me all the time. But
Hmm.
one thing I notice is that they're trying to come into their womanhood. They still need their mom, but if she's not respecting you in that, then you're right to get away because you don't need those fleas to jump on you.
Yeah, she's one that she's all about herself. Like she can't even take care of goldfish because she's
Yes.
all about herself. She won't. I don't think she'll ever have a child because she only it's just me. I don't want to
Yeah.
take care of nothing else because if I do, that means I can't do this. I can't get my nails done, the hair done. That's why I'm not gonna have no kid because I won't be able to do those things. This is how she thinks. It's just all about her. And she's the same person that is bitch this, bitch that, blah blah blah. She's just hood. She a hoodlum. You know what I'm saying? But she's the sweetest, sensitive person on the inside. But
Mm.
everything else that's wrapped around her, it's like you got these demons on you, and you got to clean yourself up. You can tell how somebody feels. All you got to do is just go walk into their bedroom. You can tell exactly what's going on with them. If their room is a total mess, the inside of them is a total mess.
Mhm.
We do
So
reflect
how do
our
we
environment.
stay? So how do we stay in I'm gonna say communication or engagement with people that we consider gaslighters that we absolutely can't discard? How do we stay in relationship with those type of people?
Who's going
Hmm.
first?
Well, I still have a relationship with my daughter. We talk every now and then, but I can recognize the gaslighting though, and when that starts coming, I got something else to do. I'll talk to you in another time, because I'm just not gonna put myself out there to be anybody's doormat. The bottom line is when it comes to her, hey, she knows I love her. She knows I'm always here for her. But I'm not going to put up with her shenanigans, the same way she wouldn't put up with somebody else's shenanigans, and I even asked her, have I ever lied to you? Haven't I always told you things and then boom, they come to pass?
And
When are you going
sometimes
to
you have
realize that
to,
I can see these things,
right. And you know what? We did that too when we was coming up. Our parents couldn't tell us nothing. We had to keep bumping our heads against the wall, and before we learned, okay,
Right, but I was a teenager.
Robert was right. But yeah, I mean, the hardest thing for a parent is to actually let their children go, to
Yeah,
hopefully know that everything you instilled in them,
yeah.
they're going to carry it with you. I
Hmm.
never stop dropping jewels to my son, whether he hear it or disagree.
Right.
It always comes back, and I would more likely hear it maybe months down the line. Ma, you was right. I remember
Yeah.
when you said such and such. So you never stop letting them, guiding them, but you do
Hmm.
have to allow them to walk their own path, whether we agree with it or not. That's the hard part.
You're exactly right because she was like, Mom, she's in Florida right now with her dad, and actually after I left, it wasn't even a month. I left on Halloween, and the day before Thanksgiving, he tried to take her life. He choked her out,
Mm.
and I kept and
Who
I t-
choked her out? Her father or her
her
man, her
boyfriend,
boyfriend?
her
Oh
boyfriend,
wow, that's sad.
and I
Thanks
had
for
told
joining,
her.
Kimberly.
And I told her, I was like, Chandra, bump your job, bump everything in that house, throw your clothes in that car, and drive to Florida or come here. You got somewhere to go. You know, you can't live in fear. You know, you're gonna lose your job because you can't even sleep at night because you scared he gonna come by. You know.
Yeah.
But but to this day, she's still talking to him. To this day. To this day.
I'm gonna say this. I kind of think that sometimes parents, right, even if the person, no matter how awful like their partner may be, is offensive, and I'm speaking from experience, I think that sometimes when we try to tell our children about whoever they're with, and I'm saying from experience, we're gonna try to get closer to them, more intimate with them, to try to prove our parents wrong, and our parents could even be right, and even with them saying, "Well, shoot, that person may kill you."
But I didn't have,
You know,
and
unfortunately, you know.
the crazy thing is, I didn't have to do that. You know, when I first met him, I knew what I saw. I
Uh huh.
knew that I saw that wolf. I knew it. And, you know, he looked me in my eyes and he looked away. And he never looked in my eyes after that. That's the
Yeah.
windows to the soul, you know.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
Exactly.
and
Exactly. Yes.
right. And then, you know, he was over to the house a lot, even spending the night, you know. Every time I seen him, I speak. Him walking through the house, I'll speak. But I go to my corner, you know, when she's home, I stay in my room. When they're gone, I got the whole house. You know, I always keep to myself. And I didn't say anything about him, about what I saw or anything, you know, because they will expose themselves all by themselves. Just give them the rope, you know. Um, but she called me one day. We was about to have a housewarming. And this is how you know it's a narc, because they always try to destroy some type of event, whether it's a holiday or whatever, right? So we was having a housewarming party. So I was uh getting the house together, doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing physically because I'm disabled. But I was doing everything. He was there and he was cleaning up her room, and then he, I guess, stayed in the room, went to sleep or whatever, because I went to my room and I was doing my thing, was ready to go to bed. She called me. I'm on my way home from work. I just wanted to see if you was up. Can we talk? I said, sure. But talk about what? She said, him. And I was like, I ain't got nothing to do with him. And she said, but it's about you. And I'm like, I ain't got nothing to do with him. I'm not in your relationship. So she comes, she comes home and she told me that I disrespect him constantly. All I do is disrespect him. And I'm thinking, when and where did all of this, see, falsely accused again? When and where did all of this happen? Where's the receipts? Because I stay in my damn room. I stay out y'all way. I speak and that's it. I don't even have a conversation with him. Period. Right? So how and when and where do I disrespect him? So he finally come out the room and nothing but hollering and F you, bitch. All this other, like, what is
Phenomenal. Is this in your house?
yes.
Oh, see, that's
And
the
I'm like,
problem.
what? And so his mask fell. His mask totally fell off. That's the day he threatened me. Was like, they gonna find my body in a damn dumpster and all this other stuff. And
I
I'm
think
like,
I
get the
don't
fuck
know.
out my house. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
I don't want to.
he did all that in front of her. I'm sorry, you will not disrespect my mama. I don't care who you are.
I
That
know.
woman brought me in this world, you know?
All right, y'all. We're gonna have to wrap up because one of the things I wanted to do was try to keep this less than an hour. But I will definitely be back next week, and we'll be talking about cognitive dissonance.
Okay.
Next
Excuse-moi.
Tuesday at
What
8:30.
day?
On Tuesday, next Tuesday,
Tuesdays.
at the same time.
Can I binge? Because I like things tied in a nice bow.
Come on, Andrea. You know, me and you've been speaking to each other throughout the day, so you know you're always welcome to speak your piece.
Okay, well, because the thing I was wanting to know, okay, for me, like you asked the question, rules of engagement. That's my biggest thing. I determine the rules of how I'm going to engage with a person. Anytime you're dealing with a gaslighter, a toxic, manipulative person, you have to decide what are your rules of engagement. That means how much to engage, when to engage, if you're going to engage. Because when you're dealing with a gaslighter, it's very important to maintain your sanity
Mm-hmm.
and maintain what you know, because hold on to your reality, because their job is to get the finger pointed at you, even when it's obvious that it's them.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't do this if you wouldn't. I did this because you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that we have to think about when we're dealing with a gaslighter. And how you deal with a person is dependent upon the relationship you have with that person.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If it's you will deal differently if it's a coworker or a supervisor. That's a need to know. I'm only talking to you on a need to know basis.
Mm-hmm.
You could keep it gray rock, just what question asked, question answered. When it's something like a spouse that you want to maintain relationship with them, that's when you really have to make sure that you maintain your sanity. Even if
Mm-hmm.
you have to write down what happened, like immediately after a situation happens, write it down before the guilt feelings show up,
Mm-hmm.
before they get a chance to find out the angle. Because if you're mad at them, okay, they're going to be remorseful until they find an angle. I always think about people trying to test the fence, trying to see if you maintain your boundaries, if your fence
Amen.
line is maintained. So you have to make sure that if you have, like I use my voice recorder on my phone sometimes, and I will quickly kind of debrief myself, so to speak, of the conversation, just to make sure if it comes back, I know what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when
And
you were saying that the
basically,
man,
basically,
huh?
when you say maintain, it's basically there's a difference between reacting and responding. Take the time
Yeah.
out so you can respond instead of just react to it.
Right. One of my favorite quotes are you have a stimulus and response. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And within that space, therein lies your ability to choose. So you
Mm-hmm.
have a stimulus and you have a response. It doesn't happen at the same time. Within that space, you can make it as long as you want. That's how you decide how to choose. And one thing I found important when I got into learning about narcissism, when I had a supervisor that was, I called her Sybil at the time, but now I know her to be a narcissist. I just hadn't experienced one before.
Right.
Um, and one thing I learned was refuse to defend yourself. There is no defense that will make a narcissist change their mind.
No.
You can give them videotape, you can record them, you can show them your notes, but you're going to go in circles. Do not defend yourself in the conversation. Always keep your ability to walk away, no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
because they will wear you out. And then we go back to the first one. Maintain your sanity.
Mm-hmm.
Arguing and debating with that guy, the boyfriend, that all that does is just break down situations. It, like your daughter saying you had been rude to him. Okay, you know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
To maintain your own sanity, you at some point, which you probably did, disengage.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you pick up your toys and walk away. With my son, he's not a narcissist, but I had to have rules of engagement with him. We negotiated our relationship like he was over here a little bit ago, no issues. But it was a time when it was always tense. And so I said, hey, we need the rules of engagement. We need to figure out how we're going to do this. He
Mm-hmm.
has a strong rule. If I raise my voice, he will leave. He'll just pick up his keys and go. And
Mm-hmm.
that's okay with me.
Mm-hmm.
If he tries to do a silent treatment on me again, then I'll ask him, like if he doesn't want to answer me, I'll ask him to leave. Or I won't call him. It used to
Mm-hmm.
be he do the silent treatment like, oh, I'm not talking to mom. Well, I used to call and bug and text and send little emojis and crap. No, I don't do that anymore because he's the one with the problem. So that's just examples of, but he's growing into his own, and he takes this manhood thing very seriously. So I had to, the relationship with him is way more important than me saying, oh, he disrespected me because he didn't pick up the phone. No, but he still has to respect me. Right. And I respect him. Right. And you can still love your child, love your daughter, right? But keep that ability to walk away, not permanently. You can come back, but like you said, you talk to them another day. And those are just some things that I've learned over the years since I got obsessed with this narcissism, gaslighting, cognitive dissonance, and all the above stuff. Okay, I didn't want to take it over. I was just like, I have to tie it in a bow for me.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. 100.
Thank you for this opportunity, Benj. I appreciate you.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up because one of the things I definitely wanted to try to do is keep it for less than 1 hour, right? But it looks like we definitely went over that. But we will be back next Tuesday, and I hope to talk about cognitive dissonance and whatever else comes up with that. So hopefully all of you beautiful people will join me next week on Breakthrough with Benj.
No problem.
Thank you,
this was
all of
awesome.
these panelists. I appreciate everybody for coming. Every thumbs up, every subscriber.
Yes.
You are very much appreciated.
Yes.
Thank you.
I appreciate this live. It was nice. It was very informative. So I learned things, and it's nice when you can share your story and people can give you advice. You can give advice. It's all good. So I look forward to next week.
Yeah, I always say we're all still learning. Oh, I won't say we. I'll say me, Benj. I'm always learning. I'm always in learning mode. I love learning. I know that I do not know everything. I know that. I think that and I know that I'm smart, but I know that I don't know everything. I'm smart enough to know that I don't know everything. So thank you, Kimberly, Derek, Phenomenal. Thank you, Phenomenal, for joining the panel. Yes. Crystal King, we're going to send prayers out for Crystal King. She has surgery tomorrow. Blessings to you, Crystal. So, of course, you'll be in my prayers, on my heart, and in my thoughts tomorrow, Crystal, for your surgery on tomorrow. Thank you, Derek, for joining the chat, being in the chat. Always love you, Kimberly Black. Thank you. Let's see who else. And looks like that's it. So, BB, you know that you and I will be in touch with one another.
Yes.
And I'm going to say good night.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.